Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Once again, welcome back to your chemistry online class. Today I am starting with the annual syllabus, annual course, that is the two chapters. First one being lesson 8, water. You have been studying about water since 3 or 4 years, and you all in geography and science both. You have studied it in EVS, although EVS was not there, it was science only, and you were there as a kid in the class second, third, fourth, isn't it? So, what is water? H2O in chemistry, you know. How much amount of water covers the earth? So, we all know that how much percentage of earth is covered by water. It is around about 2/3 of the earth's surface, or you can say 70% of the earth's surface is covered with water. That is why earth is also called as the blue planet. And there has been significant pollution both in the air as well as the water. That is, the overall climate is affected, that is leading to deleterious effect. So it is one of the most essential substance for the existence of life, and all the living beings need water, whether be it the plant or the animals. Yes or no? Then we all know that water occurs in all the three forms, that is solid, liquid and gas. And we know that in solid form water is frozen. It is in the form of ice or in the form of frost or snow, isn't it? And the liquid form of water is what it is there in the river water, well, lake and dew. These are all in the form of liquid. And in the gaseous state, we all know water occurs in the form of clouds, or we have the vapor form, water vapor, then in the form of mist and fog, isn't it? So we have the different forms of water. Now, what is frost? Especially nowadays, you must be experiencing the temperatures are quite low, and when this temperature falls below 0 degrees Celsius, that is the freezing point of water, then water forms a thin layer of ice. So you can see on the surface of leaves and surface of plants, you can see a thin layer of ice is formed. That is, instead of the green color, you have that a thin layer of ice forming, and this is known as frost. Is that clear? So this is the solid state of water. Then in the form of snow also. Now India being a tropical country, especially if we talk about Lucknow, it's a tropical area, and then it's a plain. It lies in the plain area. So if people who have been to the hill station or places where the temperatures are quite low, especially in the winters, you have this kind of sight, that is, there is snow all around. This is also the solid state of water. And then of course the ice that we are having in our freezers, that is also the solid form of water. Then the liquid state, that is, it occurs in river water, well water, lake water, and as dew. Now you can see this on the plant surface, you have this form droplet light, like you can see a droplet, small droplets forming on the surface of the leaf. This is the liquid form of water, and this is known as dew. Then you have the river water, well water, lake water. Then in the gaseous state, water exists in the form of water vapor, clouds, mist and fog, isn't it? Now you can see over here how water changes into steam when you are heating something, or when you are cooking, you can see that steam coming out, that is water vapor. And then you have the whole cloud formation seen in the water cycle as well. That is also the gaseous state of water. Then you have the mist and fog as well. Now this is a very common sight nowadays. You experience such a lot of fog, and then there is mist in the morning, right? So this is all that you have been observing, especially in the winters. So this is how fog appears. Then what is the amount of water that is existing in our body? That is how much water content is present in our body. That is around 70%. And water is present in all fruits and vegetables, and it is even present in the thing that might be appearing otherwise dry. That is if so you have the peas, then you have the potatoes. So many vegetables and fruits you're having every day, they are filled with water. Some have a large quantity of water, others have lesser, but all of them contain water. So these are top water rich food, for example cucumbers, and these are generally grown for the summer season where we need a lot of water. So we should thank God for all these gifts, because according to the need, the vegetables and food are there. So there is an activity on page number 106, that is to show that dry substances contain water. That is, we have to take the test tubes, then a burner, this is the burner, then the test tubes, then splinters of wood, dry wood, then you have the wood over here, not the dry wood, sorry, dry seed, and the wood over here, and in the third test tube you have the piece of cloth. Is it clear? So what do we do is we take the 3 test tubes, label them as A, B and C, right? And then what do we do? Put splinters of wood in test tube A, then dry seeds of peas in test tube B, and small pieces of cloth in test tube C. Is that clear? Now we heat them on a burner. You can see the burner where we heat them. What do we see? What do we see? We don't see much change in these test tubes. We see that after heating, there are few droplets of water on the upper part of the inner surface walls of the test tube. This is the only thing that we see after heating. So we can see even these dry things which are appearing dry, and we think they are dry, they are containing no water, they actually contain some amount of water. That is why when we heat them, this water vapor comes out. Is that clear? So this is showing that even dry substances contain water. Then what is the importance of water in our life? We all know the importance of water, and we cannot even think of a day without it, and we face so many problems if there is water crisis for a day also. So it is used for drinking, then bathing, cleaning, cooking, washing, and so many things are dependent, so many day-to-day life activities of ours are dependent on them. Not only us, even the plants are dependent on them, without which their life will come to an end, the overall life on earth will come to an end. So it is used for bathing, drinking, washing, cleaning, cooking. Then it is necessary for the growth and development of the living beings, right? Just because it acts as a medium for different biochemical processes in the cell. So all the processes, biochemical processes that are taking place inside our body, they are taking in the presence of water. That is, water is present there to act as the medium for the activity. Then it regulates the body temperature by sweating. Then it is necessary for germination, growth of plants and photosynthesis. So I've just told you that how it is regulating the body temperature. We sweat profusely during the summers, but we do not sweat during the in winters, unless and until we are indulging in some strenuous work, exercising, or any activity which needs a lot of physical labor. Just because this sweating regulates the body temperature. The excess heat that is generated, especially in the summers, that is because of the temperature, that is increased temperature of the overall temperature of the city is high. That is, the climate, or you can say it's summer season, and the average temperatures are much higher. So what is happening, that the body, in order to maintain an optimum temperature of 37 to 38 degrees Celsius, we sweat a lot. Uh, is that clear? Excess heat, what excess heat comes out of the body in the form of sweat. So this sweating does what? It causes a cooling effect on the body. Then it is necessary for the germination. In simple terms, what is germination? It is the development of a seed into a seedling and then to a big plant. So this is the seed developing into a new plant. For this, water is required. It is an essential feature, or without water germination cannot take place. Is that clear? Then photosynthesis. That is, we all know that green plants, in the presence of sunlight and carbon dioxide and water, manufacture food in the form of glucose and sugar. Sorry, glucose and oxygen is evolved. Is that clear? Glucose, that is the food prepared by the plants. This is in the form of glucose. So this is not possible without water. This process is called as photosynthesis. Then it is used for growing crops. Then without the water, crops cannot grow, and it is a habitat for some living organisms, especially the aquatic plants and animals. So you can see the aquatic plant and animal, they cannot live without water, and their existence is absolutely impossible without water. That is aquatic, that is water life. Whether it is the plant life or the animal life, aquatic plants and animal, both are there because of water only. And it is used in industries for various purposes. Then it acts especially in the power plants, that is the nuclear reactors. Also we are using water over here as the last phase, last step. That is, after, what are the nuclear power plant doing? They are used for generating electricity. Same with the hydroelectric power plant also. Electricity is generated by this water which is falling from the dam, and then it falls on the turbines which are connected to the generators, and these generators are generating the electricity, and this electricity is supplied to the whole city. Then it acts as a coolant in nuclear reactors and car radiators. This is the nuclear reactor I showed you. This is the last step where water is used, and this water is finally discharged. Hot water is discharged into the nearby water body, which is a source of water pollution also. And it is used as a coolant in car radiators. And this is the picture of a car radiator. Is that clear? Water is used as a coolant over here also, and it is used in laboratories to do experiments. In the labs, whether you, as a science student, you have a good source of good supply of water, because without water the experiments cannot proceed well. Is that clear? It regulates the temperature of the earth. So everything is being regulated by water. Whatever water content is there, or amount of rainfall that is falling, that determines the vegetation as well as the climate of a particular place. So all the temperature or the sea level or floods, etc., everything is being determined by the amount of water. So it is regulating the climate on earth. I've shown you the hydroelectric power plants, that it is used for generating electricity in hydroelectric power plants. Then what are the sources of water? So there are three main sources, that is rainwater, surface water and underground water. Now we all know that rainwater, it is the purest form of natural water. And how do we get this water? We get it from rain itself. Is that clear? And we know rain is formed how? It is formed by the continuous evaporation and condensation processes in the atmosphere. That is the evaporation, you can see, and then condensation process that are taking place repeatedly in the atmosphere, and this is even containing dissolved oxygen and carbon dioxide with it, and when it is containing other gases as sulfur dioxide or nitrogen dioxide, then it falls as acid rain. That is dangerous for us. That is it has some damaging effects on the plants, animals, as well as on the buildings also. And we should avoid taking a shower in the or taking getting wet in the first shower of rain, because a lot of dust and whatever dust and germs that are there suspended in the atmosphere, they get mixed with the water and then they fall as impurities. That is, the water is impure, the first shower is generally impure. However, later showers of rain are free from impurities, and it is good for drinking as well, because it does not contain any dissolved impurities. So, what is surface water? That is the water located on the top of the earth's surface, such as in the form of earth's surface, such as rivers. That is it is the water that is present on the surface of the earth. This water exists in the form of what? In the form of rivers, lakes, then ponds. This is all surface water, in the form of creeks and the various wetlands that like Sundarbans. Exactly, this is this example of surface water. So the river and lake water. So water in rivers and lakes, how does it come? It comes from the melting of snow. Is that clear? On the mountains when it melts, and this water flows down the mountains and it collects in the form of rivers, and this keeps on going and replenishing the water that has evaporated, and the snow keeps on melting and descending down the mountains and goes into the rivers. And what is it doing? It is on its way, it dissolves some soluble salts and carries suspended impurities like sand, clay and twigs. All these things are present in the river water. It also contains waste material that are discharged into rivers by factories. Is that clear? The areas or the industries, factories which are located near a river, all the waste is discharged into these rivers. Is that clear? And they cause water pollution. And this river water may also contain germs, and these germs may cause various diseases like the jaundice, dysentery, cholera and typhoid. Therefore, river water we cannot use for our drinking purpose, that is for our consumption, human consumption, because it is not very fit and it contains a lot of impurities as well as lot of germs which can be a source of various diseases. Same with the lakes also. The lake water is also not fit for drinking water. Then the waters of the ocean and seas, and they are the largest, although they are largest source of water or not, but they contain a large amount of salt, dissolved salts, mainly in the form of common salt, NaCl. And this, just because of the presence of this salt, it is salty in taste. The water is salty in taste and is called saline water. And this water is also not fit for drinking and irrigation because it's of its highly saline nature, salty nature. Then we have another source of water, that is the underground water. What is this underground water? The reservoirs or a collection of water which has accumulated over non-porous rocks. Non-porous, that is the rocks which don't have any spaces in between. Is that clear? So groundwater fills these spaces between the rocks which are otherwise non-porous. The spaces that are present between these fractured rocks or the broken rocks, there is accumulation or the seepage of the rainwater into the ground, and this collect in this water collects inside these spaces, and this water is known as groundwater. So it fills the spaces between soil particles and fractured rock beneath the earth's surface. Now this water is good for human consumption, and the level of groundwater is called as the water table. So the level of groundwater is called as the water table. You can see the diagram over here. This is the groundwater, that is the porous rock or the soil which is not saturated with groundwater, and this porous rock here, this is the water table. The porous rocks which are saturated with groundwater, the area that is between the non-porous and rocks and the soil is known as the porous rock, and this is the porous rock which is saturated with groundwater containing water in them. This is the water table, and this can be obtained, or this can be pumped out by digging wells. As you can see how water is drawn out by putting a bucket, hanging a bucket with the help of a rope, and then suspending it inside this well which contains water. And then we have the hand pumps and tube wells which are used to pump out groundwater also. This I am sure you all must have seen. This is the hand pump, and this is also used for bringing out or pumping out the groundwater. It is used for household, agriculture and industrial purposes. Then we have the springs, which are also a source of underground water. Now this is the picture of a spring, and it is also a source of underground water. This water contains dissolved impurities but no suspended impurities or germs. Exactly, whatever impurities that are dissolved in it are different from the suspended impurities, which are not harmful for us. Is it clear? So sometimes spring water is rich in minerals with medicinal value. Such kind of water, they are not a very common sight over here. So, and they can have certain healing properties and medicinal properties which can be used by various people for treating various ailments or various diseases. Then there is an activity to show that rainwater does not contain any dissolved impurities, but well water does. For this, what do? We take 2 beakers, 2 porcelain dishes, burners. So we have taken here 2 beakers and 2 porcelain dishes over here, and then burners, tripod stand. This is the tripod stand. Tri means 3, having 3 legs, and then the burners are there. Then a wire gauze, a net mesh like this. Mesh is kept in order to avoid direct heating effect. This is kept over the this stand, and then the heating is done with the beaker on it. Is it clear? This is known as the wire gauze. Then the rainwater and well water. We take the 2 samples in the 2 different beakers, and then we put the dishes over 2 beakers containing the water. Is it clear? Heat the beakers. As the water in the beakers boil, what happened? It heats the porcelain dishes also. So this porcelain dish, one is containing the well water, other is containing the rainwater. And this is the normal water. When we heat this, then steam is generated, steam is formed, and this heating evaporates the water in the dishes, because this water is less, so the heating effect evaporates whatever water is there in the in these dishes. Is that clear? Now when the rainwater in the porcelain dish evaporates completely, there is no residue left, nothing is left behind over here. But when we see what is left behind in the other dish, that is the dish containing the well water, we observe rings of solid residue. We see their rings have formed like this. Is that clear? You can see over here. So this shows what? That rainwater does not contain any dissolved impurities, but well water does contain many impurities. So this is all for today. Please revise it. Allah Hafiz.